Good evening, you're watching Fiji Today on my TV. I'm Laisia Sakumbo. Fiji Prime Minister Commodore Vorenge Bainimarama opened the newly built road on Matuku Island in Laos yesterday. The Vanua of Matuku waited at the jetty to receive Commodore Bainimarama as he disembarked the RFNS Kiro. Construction of the road had started way back in 1991 and only about 15 kilometers of the road has been completed. Another 9 kilometers is still to be completed by Ministry of Works laborers. The road is the first for the island and will link villages. The road is being constructed at a cost of $4 million. Solar power systems will be installed in all primary schools on Kambara Island to meet the educational needs of students. Through this project, the government is demonstrating the importance it places in the education of children for the future wealth of Fiji. The Prime Minister Commodore Vorenge Bainimarama met with the head teachers of the 5 primary schools on Kambara, namely Kambara District School, Naikeleanga Village School, Wuningingia District School, Como, and Natokalau.
The head teacher at Naikeleanga Village School, Choana Rikimbalavu, told the Prime Minister that 2 teachers at the school had to juggle 8 classes, and classes have had to be extended sometimes into the night in order for the curriculum to be completed on time. The lack of lighting is a hindrance. She said they cannot rely on generator power because of the infrequent visits of boats to the island, so they are often without diesel. The Department of Energy has been directed to come up with a proposal of the solar power installations and quotations within 2 weeks. The Prime Minister also directed the provision of library books from classes 1 to 8, the construction of new toilets, water tanks, computers and printers, and 2 evacuation centers. Similar assistance has been rendered to schools on Vonombalavu, Lakemba and Fulanga.
A HIV decree open forum was held in Suba this morning. The forum is the last in a series of forums held to raise awareness on the HIV decree for 2011. According to the National Advisor for Family Health, Dr. Francis Bingwa, under the new decree, persons living with HIV and AIDS now have a legal chance to challenge any kind of social discrimination.
Okay, the workshop today is the 7th and last of a series of workshops designed to raise awareness on the HIV and AIDS Decree of 2011. What we've tried to do is to train our own Ministry of Health senior staff and other personnel working in clinics and hospitals that will be involved not only with the counseling and testing of VCCT, but also with the management of patients living with HIV and AIDS and those affected by HIV and AIDS. Equally important are our partners in health who work with us in the field of HIV and AIDS.
The new HIV AIDS Decree 2011 will ensure that persons living with HIV and AIDS will not be discriminated, can get access to medical treatment, and can seek employment. Ms. Bingwa said the decree is supported by a national policy and guidelines developed by the National Board for HIV in consultation with all stakeholders and development partners. She said this is supported by appropriate training and development for key personnel for implementation. Consultant Nazad Samim says the decree will be implemented across all levels of the health system and relevant service delivery areas.
Throughout this decree, you will find that the right to be protected from discrimination goes to these 2 groups: people who are living with and people who are affected by, both groups. So who is a person living with HIV? A person who has tested positive for HIV antibodies or antigen by any authority accepted for the purpose of such testing by the Permanent Secretary, including an authority outside Fiji. And a person affected by HIV/AIDS includes partners, friends, close and extended family members, work colleagues, and members of the same religion. So really a whole church is protected under this decree if they come within this definition. As a person who is affected by HIV/AIDS under this definition. Moving on, to prisoner. Prisoner has a fairly limited meaning here, but when we come to section 22, we'll see that it has a much broader meaning, as including all persons in custody. So I'll come to that in a minute. But a prisoner in the definition section has the meaning given to it under the Prisons and Corrections Act 2006. And the Prisons and Corrections Act 2006 deals with serving prisoners. When we come to section 22, we will see that the rights of prisoners are extended to persons in custody. So it includes people who are remand prisoners and persons who are in police custody.
In addition to this, it is now a law, so if persons living with HIV and AIDS go through any stigmatization and discrimination, they have a cause of action to take.
Public facilities includes all facilities, whether or not in public ownership, to which the public has lawful access. So let's say a building is owned by a private company, William and Gosling. But there is an area of William and Gosling that any member of the public can just walk in and go to the reception and ask or make clear what the business is. Insofar as the public has access to that open area in a private building, it is a public facility for the purpose of this definition.
I'm happy to say that the screening test that we do at all our blood bank minimizes very greatly the risk of having an HIV transmission through blood. So just to the community, we're hoping this decree makes you relieve somewhat, that when you come to our facilities, you'll be greeted by friendly staff who are happy to counsel you on what the test is and offer you the test in a customer-friendly environment. And for those communities, families, villages, workplaces who have an HIV-positive person, he's just entitled to the rights that anybody else in this country is entitled to. And we should always promote the equality of what everyone should have the right to have. HIV-positive people are no different from all of us.
After the break, $1 million city for Tonga in Osori and pushing green initiatives for our municipalities.